We are back in the comfortable confines of the Goldberg residence. Rabbi Josh is together with myself and hopefully other Rebbeim. We're going to try to pick up some of the project, getting the videos from the yeshivas, the Rebbeim, back on the website, so you guys can get a little chizuk mitzvah. If we have any comments from the Goldberg children, you'll know that they may or may not like this presentation, so I hope it'll come out all right. Anyway, Parshas Chukos. I saw a wonderful insight that I think is very relevant to Neveh in particular. Even though I'm not a big fan of taking a vort and making it relevant, to have to be relevant to Neveh, but I thought this one was relevant. We know the famous story in Parshas Chukos that the Moshe Rabbeinu was told to speak to the rock and take out the water from the rock, because the Klal Yisrael, Jewish people, needed to drink. And instead of speaking to the rock, he hit the rock. Right? So there's a lot of questions about the whole story. And not the least of which is, Moshe Rabbeinu was told to speak to the rock. And he's told to, and then he hits the rock. So either way, if you think about it, I don't know how things are going by some of you guys that are listening to this share, I haven't really tried to either speak or to hit a rock recently. And it's not one of these things that I think I would be overly successful in bringing out water. So one would imagine that's a fairly remarkable thing. So what's the difference between speaking to a rock or hitting a rock? The other thing which is interesting to note, which is that this isn't the first time that Moshe Rabbeinu is told to deal with a rock. When they first came out of Mitzrayim, he was told that there was a similar need. They needed water. And Moshe Rabbeinu was told at that time to hit the rock. So, and apparently at that time, that was just fine. Hitting the rock at the beginning of the time while they were going through the midbar, that's all right. But after 40 years, then apparently talking is the appropriate way of dealing with the rock. So the question is, what does it mean to speak to a rock? What does it mean to hit a rock? And why is it apparently that the hitting of the rock which was initially fine, seems to be problematic 40 years later? And the other obvious question we have to answer is, what was the cause now, because of that made it that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't go into Eretz Yisrael? There was obviously some connection that, and the pasuk says that since they didn't make didn't make Kiddush Hashem by bringing out the water through speech. So apparently that was strong enough reason that Moshe Rabbeinu shouldn't go into Eretz Yisrael. So I saw it in the Neveh Shalom, says the beautiful vort. The Neveh Shalom says that when a person makes an effort to do whatever he wants to do, it's all min Hashemayim. It all comes from Hashem. The only question is, how much do we realize it? How much effort do we have to make in order for it to happen? If you have to hit something, it means you got to make a little bit more effort. If you can talk, that's not as much effort, right? Whatever it may be. Again, we can't picture what it is on the level of getting water out of a rock. But hitting a rock is one level. That's a certain amount of effort, which based on that generation was still miraculous, but it was a certain amount of more serious effort. Speaking to a rock, again, represents the idea of not making as much effort. So what's the difference? Why is it that at the beginning of going to the midbar, talking to the rock is effective and speaking is different? Because Eretz Yisrael is a land of Amunah. It's a land where we live with Hashem's presence. It's a reality of living near to Hashem and close to Hashem. And the reality is that we're supposed to learn what it is to be close to Hashem. So speaking to the rock means that when we're ready to go into Eretz Yisrael, we're ready to relate to a whole different level. A whole different level. We're ready to relate to the fact that we're going to give up, we're going to let go, and it's in Hashem's hands. So at the beginning, when they're in the midbar, so they're not ready for this yet. They're not ready for the level of Eretz Yisrael. So you have to hit the rock. Again, it's still miraculous. Let's not kid ourselves. When they're coming into Eretz Yisrael, to speak to the rock. So the question obviously is, why did Moshe hit the rock? So let's picture the scene over here. Now I'm just getting a little bit of an insight based on something that I heard from my Rebbein. Moshe Rabbeinu 40 years later hears the same complaining for water. 40 years later, things seems like they haven't really changed. It's the same. Where's the water? Why did we come out to the midbar? Why did we leave Mitzrayim? So Moshe Rabbeinu sees that apparently the level of Emunah has not changed. It says in the Neveh Sholem, there's a difference between before Torah and after Torah. Before Torah, before we have the words of Torah which can affect us and mamish bring the water of our hearts out, and water always represents Torah, so we need to hit. There has to be the Asher Makas, there has to be Kriyas Yamsa, there has to be a clap, there has to be mamish with a hit. After Torah, it's a whole different world. Torah works that even if you don't see it, we seem to be asking the same question. We seem to be not getting the point. We seem to be like you still need the same bang on the head because we're not getting the program. We're not understanding that of course Hashem will do it, and all we have to do is use the words of Torah. All we have to do is speak to the rock, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu hits the rock. Again, we can't understand the chet of Moshe Rabbeinu. We can't understand. Ramban says it's a very, very high thing. But the bottom line is, in terms of what I think we can learn from it, what the Neveh Sholem says, that speaking to the rock is something that they should have done, because Moshe Rabbeinu should have done, because that would have shown the people that, yeah, you are on this level. Says in the Neveh Sholem, we didn't feel it, they didn't feel it, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't see it. So the Neveh Sholem says a big rule. The rule is you have to believe that you believe. You have to believe that you believe. That's the emunah that we needed. So in order to gain an understanding of how we're going to go into Eretz Yisrael, we have to know we're different people. We're not the same people. We have a relationship to Torah and to ourselves and our emunah that we can all we have to do is speak. That's speaking, that's talking, that's hitting. That's the differences. Talking is because we're closer, we don't have to make as much effort. And speaking and hitting is because more effort is in fact needed. Now I just want to say one point. I saw this vort and I had one little insight that I just want to suggest. The Ilam's not so Ilam's not so pleased over here with my presentation. Alright. Anyway, the bottom line is I was thinking, what's Neveh? What are we trying to do? Again, I don't want to make it I'm not a big fan of making the words relevant, like it's got to be a vort, it's relevant to us. But on the other hand, I couldn't help but thinking, plenty of us have gotten knocked on the head for plenty of years. The only way we're going to change is on a big bang on the head. And in the debate, what we do? We talk. We talk. Tell the guy, let's talk. Rabbi Charlop, take him for a walk. And you talk. And the Rebbeim talk, and Yedidim talks. We all talk. Why? Because it's there. Because we know it's there. We don't need to hit a guy in the head. Hitting a guy in the head is because you don't really believe he can do it. You talk to a guy, it's there. It doesn't look like it, and maybe people have been hitting him on the head, but we know that speaking is enough because the emunah is there. The ability to change, the willingness to change is there. All you have to do is speak. As Hashem, we should know that we really have that within ourselves. That all we have to do is we have to talk to others and help others. We have to talk to ourselves and realize that we can make the changes that we really want to make. Have a wonderful Shabbos, and whenever you hear this, Hashem, you should be with a lot of hatzlacha. Things should go well, and we should have that deep emunah, and that emunah should come out.